Can you hear?
Folks, you are in for a treat today. We have Thrive, the antidote to future shock, the author, Fred Marshall. How you doing today?
Awesome. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Listen, this book, first of all, the cover is amazing. I mean, it is one of those books where I look on Amazon, I'm scrolling, and I immediately stop and I'm like, what is going on here? So maybe we just hit that first. What is up with this fantastic otherworldly cover?
Yeah, well, the panda is really a reference to a process that we have for resetting your nervous system. You know how easy it is to spiral and feel like the world's coming unglued and
Oh yeah.
feel frazzled and all that. So panda's this little 5-step process to reset, recenter. It works really well. It's super fast. And I was talking with my daughter about it, and she said, "You should put a panda on the cover." And I go, "Okay, let's do that."
Smart girl. That's amazing. Well,
Yeah.
let's break that down because Fred. But and by the way, I know your pen name's Frederick, which is amazing. But I know you as Fred. um,
Fred's good. Fred's good.
but just today, I wake up and like my inbox is full. My tweets are going off. This
Mm,
happened last night. AI is the new model stolen. Rockets. We're circling the moon. I mean, wow.
yeah,
What is going on? And is that what your book addresses?
it does. I think we've all experienced this feeling that there's too much change happening too fast, and we're in this world where we're drinking from a fire hose of information, maybe 20 fire hoses of information, and it's feeling increasingly overwhelming for a lot of
Yeah,
people.
yeah, yeah. That's
And if you add to that the fear of job loss from AI, a
mm,
lot of people are getting more and more worried about it. And if you're not worried about it, the news media will remind you that you should be worried about it,
that's right.
which is a little annoying, but there's some truth to it. And then there's just the whole problem of how do you live in a world that's changing so fast, drowning you with information, and then monetizing your attention. That
Mm,
whole system to kind of grab your attention, pull it into their ecosystem, hang ads in front of you, monetize you. The
yes.
old saying, if it's free, you're the product. Um,
Mm,
all of that adds up to this chronic distraction, and you can see it in a lot of interesting ways. I'm sure you've noticed this, Carrie, where you're going about your day and your phone pings you for
yeah.
in any number of ways, right?
Oh, yeah.
Discord, emails, DMs, whatever. And so we're distracted. The average millennial, I read recently, is checks out their phone, checks in with their phone 100 times a day. That's
Wow.
once every 9 minutes. So I swiped left to see how often I'm doing it. And I bounce between 50 and 75 times a day. And I consider myself a relatively disciplined person. It's what it's doing, Carrie, is it's
Mm,
fragmenting our attention.
yes.
And, if you think about life, what is life? It's just two things we have to point our attention to: building the future you want, which is probably the most important thing, right?
Mm,
Everything that you want is on the other side of, a year, 2, 3, 5 year time horizon. What are those things? Love, great relationships,
mm,
health, wealth. All those things take time. So building the future is one place we need to be focusing our attention. And then the second is managing the present moment. Everything from, enjoying the present moment. What a concept.
mm,
It's kind
mm.
of a good idea to do that and be in the moment, but also manage the stuff you have to do. Got to take out the trash, got to, respond to my
Yeah.
boss's email, all that stuff. And so when your attention's fragmented like this, it forces us to be only in the present moment, and we let go of the things that build the future we want, because that's the
Wow.
easiest thing to get rid of, right?
That
I'm
is
sure
so
you've had
good.
that experience.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I heard a term the other day,
Hmm.
Fred, and it's called digiphrenia.
Oh, yeah. I've
But
never heard of that, but that's perfect.
yeah, yeah. And schizophrenia, multiple personalities, but
Mhm.
digiphrenia is like I carry exist on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, my phone, my computer. And as a result, there's stress of, am I saying the same thing there? What if somebody's needing me there? Like, don't you feel like we need to exist in so many places today?
We do, and there's so many more digital spaces opening up. Now I have to have an account on Substack, and I've gotta have
Yeah.
YouTube and LinkedIn.
Yeah.
The list is long, and it's a big distraction machine, and I think the
Mm,
secret sauce is to ignore. if you divide the world into stuff that's going to shape the future,
Yeah.
stuff that's going to maintain the present, and noise. The problem today is we've got more noise than ever before. And
Mm.
so how do we, shut off the noise, automate the present if we can, right?
Yeah.
Build workflows, use agentic AI to manage a lot of that stuff. And AI is going to get, it's weird now, but it's going to get so good in the next 18 months. It's going to be fantastic. You can automate things. I don't think about my car. I just get in, turn the key, and go.
Yeah.
There's so many things that we can automate in that same way.
Mm.
And that's exciting, I think.
I
And
think
that
you're
frees up
really good.
time to do the future, right?
Oh, yeah. And you're good at that, Fred. I've watched you for a while now, that you kind of say, hey, if you need to get a hold of me, here's the way,
Mhm.
versus all the other options. And maybe is that even part of your book, the proof that, like, hey, if we need
Yeah.
Fred, this is the way, versus 60 different options.
Yeah, that's true. I won't share that path, but
Yeah.
if you want to get my attention, there's a path, and
Yeah,
I give
yeah.
that out very, carefully.
Discreetly.
Uh,
Yes.
and everybody knows if you need me, go for it. But if you
That's
don't,
the
I'll
way.
get
Yeah.
back to you at the end of the day. And
That's
that
good.
way, I protect that chunk time.
Oh, that's
But
so good.
right? I mean, we all have to do that because if you don't, your
Yeah.
attention just gets scattered to 1,000 places.
Yeah. So you mentioned Panda, Panda.
Mm.
Uh, I'm assuming, I mean, I don't want to guess, but like, can you unpack that a little bit? I know the book goes into
Yeah.
much more detail of how to do it, but what does that acronym mean?
Absolutely. Well, so let's helicopter up a little bit first, and then we'll go into Panda. So, what's the problem to solve? The problem to solve is that my internal world sometimes can get hijacked, and I can get,
Mm,
frenetic and spiral and all of that, and get sidetracked. And the
mm,
question is, how do you bring yourself back to center fast and efficiently?
good.
That's the problem it's trying to solve. And so it's really simple. Just run Panda, Panda. P is pause for perspective. And the way you do that is just taking a deep breath, let it out.
Mm,
What it does is it resets your nervous system and shifts you out of autopilot and automatically reacting to the world and into agency and choice.
mm,
That's the first step. And if you want to do breath a couple of times, that's fine. I find 1 or 2 times is plenty, and you can go right to the second step, which is ask yourself, where's my attention right now? Is it on this thing that's freaking me out? I'm spiraling around something that's upsetting to me, and I keep, making it big and loud and close, and it just triggers the next spiral. So then you say to yourself, all right, this is where my attention is right now. Where should I be putting my attention given the larger goals? It gets back to what we said earlier. Given the future I'm trying to create, where should my attention to be? Where should my attention be? Given the current moment that I need to manage right now, where should my attention be? And you
mm.
bring it back to that. And that's the second step of Panda. If that's all you get to, you've made good progress. The third step, N, is how am I narrating things in my head? I in the past, and my wife will tell you sometimes in the present, can get a little caught up and say, "Oh my God, again!" Like,
Mm,
"Oh, this is another thing," and sort of whip myself up into a
sure.
frenzy and spiral a little bit. And so you want to ask yourself, "What's my narration right now? Is it spiraling or is it empowering?" And once you ask that question, you realize, oh my God, I'm so spiraling right now. I need
Wow.
to, what should the narration be? Oh, well,
That's
this is
interesting.
bad. I'll get over it. We always find a way. This is tough moment, but I can learn from it. I can grow from it. Have that
Mm,
narration. And that's really, really powerful.
that is
And then,
powerful.
and I don't know if you, had that situation where your brain is going 100 miles an hour and then you go, wait, brain, I like to say our minds have a mind of their own sometimes,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you need to tell it to, shut the blank up and just
Yeah.
and let's focus on something, more productive, please.
But I like that. I like that. You're basically saying, hey, listen, what's the story I'm telling myself?
Mhm.
I've heard something else like, is the story serving me?
Perfect.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
I do,
And many
yeah.
times it's not. And then I'm like, oh, okay, now I'm aware. But I love this PAN, and now we got the D.
And is it serving my future self as well? Like,
Mm,
lots of times our narration is dialed into the present moment, but it's not dialed into the future we want. And so that alignment is kind of a secret sauce.
that's good.
D is decision. What do I want to say no to and yes to? As simple as that. You know, for me, it's no to sugar, yes to whole foods. For every
Mm,
category of thing in your life, there's probably a strong no and a strong yes. And
mhm.
you can simplify your life in a big way by making those choices in advance.
Wow. Sure.
And then the last is just action. What's something I can do right now? One simple step. And the goal there is to get out of your head and into your body and the external world. If
Mm,
I'm thinking about stuff, I'm still inside. But once I start taking action in the physical world, now I'm out of my head. And that
mm.
breaks the spell. That's the final thing that breaks the spell. Now you're engaged and you're empowered and you have agency and you're not
Well, I like that.
spiraling anymore. Yeah. It's simple and it
Wow,
works.
that's good. That's good. Hence the panda. I
Hence
love
the
that.
panda. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's jump right in. First of all, I got to give you some shout outs here. I
Oh.
mean, the book hasn't even come out officially yet. And we'll see, when this whole live stream is jumping. But like this is evidence of people getting a pre-release copy.
Mhm.
And to be straight up, I mean, we've launched 2,000 books.
Oh, wow.
I've never seen 43 ratings and reviews prior to launch. And I mean, these are like legit. These are people that are really commenting. And I believe this book stands out because it mixes emotional resilience with strategic thinking. Many books talk about change, but few explain how to emotionally process rap. I mean, this is hitting the mark. Why do you think that this is? I mean, look at some of these people. They got 1,500 reviews, 28 followers. I mean, they are digging this thing. Why do you think that happens, Fred?
So because I'm sort of an analytical person and I love to dig into ChatGPT and stuff, I took all those reviews, I loaded them into ChatGPT, and I said, "What patterns are you seeing?" And
Whoa, that's a
right,
good
that
use of AI.
and ChatGPT and AI is really good at spotting themes. So
Yeah.
the themes that really came through, I think, reflect the inner state of mind of the people who are writing the reviews.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, when people love a book, if you ask, "Well, why do you love it so much?" It tells more about the person than it does about the
Oh,
book in
sure,
some
sure.
ways. And
Yeah.
so, things like, it made me feel calm, but energized
Mm,
at the same time. That was the theme. And I thought, well, that's interesting. What that suggests is that people are feeling overwhelmed and they're feeling frazzled and they're looking to be energized in a good way and calm and centered. So that was very gratifying because that was one of the goals
oh,
of the
yeah.
book. The next is this idea of simplicity and strategy. You want to be a big strategic thinker, but it's got to be practical and real. And that was a theme that just rolled all the way through. It's
So good,
practical,
yeah.
it's strategic, but it's very down to earth, something I can do. And then another big theme that I was thrilled to see, and I think it also reflects where people are coming from, is this feeling that, at the end of most of those reviews, it'll say something, after reading this book, I felt fill in the
Sure.
blank.
Yeah, yeah.
And what people said most consistently was, I felt positive about the future for the first time in a long time. And
Whoa.
and I thought that was really encouraging because the future is gonna be breathtaking.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is look past all the noise and distraction and focus on the things that are aligned with the future that you want. The tools and the resources are
Jeez.
unbelievable
Yeah.
today, right? And just subtract all the nonsense
Yeah.
and do that. And it turns out that it's surprisingly easy to live a
Mm,
great life. You just have to block the noise. Not that that's easy to do
right.
necessarily, because the noise is relentless. But anyway, that's the big idea. So I thought that was fascinating, the themes that came up and when we looked at all the reviews.
I think you're onto something because, I got a bottle of some good liquid here,
Mhm.
and wouldn't I drink a bottle to get calm, not of beverage, but like your book. I mean, your book
Right.
is the antidote, like you say. I mean, that's why
Mm.
I'm holding a beverage here. Your book is the antidote. Folks, if you could get an antidote to anxiety, worry, fear, wouldn't that be worth, I mean, how much would that be worth? It'd be worth 100 times your book. So I'm just very interested that
Mm,
these people are digesting your book, they're drinking your book, and they're literally walking away with calm, peace, excitement, energy, vitality.
mm.
I mean, Fred, doesn't that make the book all worth it?
For sure, for sure. I mean, that was one of my goals, is to try to give back to a world that's been really generous to me.
Mm,
It's funny you mentioned the drinking thing, because since I've been, living and immersed in this,
yeah,
which is about a year and a half, it takes a while to get a book across the
sure.
finish line. I noticed that I'm not in. I used to drink a glass of Chianti or more, every night with some potato chips. That was my jam. Uh,
Yeah.
and I noticed, like, I don't need that anymore. And I
Oh,
thought, well,
wow.
why is that? And your comment just a second ago kind of made something click in my own
Oh.
head. It's like, I'm feeling pretty relaxed and
Yeah,
chill and organized
yeah,
about stuff. And I'm not frazzled, so I don't need to unwind in that
yeah.
way. And that's kind of interesting. I hadn't expected
It
that.
is. It is, and I feel like the world's gonna give us a
Mm,
story, kinda back to
mhm.
your N in, Panda, but
Yeah.
the world, I mean, you just go on X or you go on CNN, Constant Negative News, or whatever it's called, um, right? I don't know if you ever heard that one, but, s but
For
the
sure.
point is
Yeah.
that, if you don't,
Crisis News Network, right?
that's right, that's what Peter Diamandis, who, by the way, did the forward. Oh my gosh, amazing.
Mm,
Um, but the world's gonna give us a story if
mm,
we don't have one. Your
for
point
sure.
is, hey, you're giving people access to one so they can fight the ones that being handed to them. Would you kind of say that's another byproduct of your book?
I think so, and the way I frame it up in my mind is, you know, um, either you manage your attention or
Mm,
somebody else will,
wow.
and whoever controls your attention controls your future. So, I don't want, the algorithm deciding
Yeah.
what I'm looking at right now,
Yeah.
feeding me negative news, drama,
Oh yeah.
trauma, or
Oh yeah.
nonsense. Who needs that?
Here's a little thing I do, and it might
Mm,
sound weird or like a crutch, but when I'm cycling
mm,
indoors,
yeah.
I watch a podcast. I watch Moonshots with Peter and Salim and Alex and everybody and Dave.
Yeah,
But there's sometimes that I just want to like watch a movie, you know? And
yeah.
what I found is that I'll go to the IMBD and
Mhm.
literally look at the guide of what's in that video because I don't wanna know the whole story, but I do
Yeah,
wanna know if it's, excessive sexual things or, whatever that
yeah.
I wanna be diligent of what I'm putting in my mind because I know that that's where my mind goes then if I'm just chilling, and so I think we have to be it's almost like you're saying that we have to be proactive these days.
I think we do, because if you just go on autopilot, the world's gonna give you what the world gives you, and curating. I think the magic word is curating, and what's
Wow, that's good.
lovely about that word is you curate according to your taste. So, I
Yeah,
love to garden, I love art, I love science, I love technology. So that's what I curate. That's the all my
yes.
news feeds reflect that. My kids are different. They're musicians, so they're curating music and
That's interesting.
production and the mechanics of making great music and so forth. That's sort of their world. They curate that to fit their world. Well, now social media is a blessing instead of a curse. If you curate it, then it's fantastic. And I think that's kind of the most important point, maybe, is that it isn't the world that's the problem. It's curating those bits
Mm.
of the world that enable the future that you want.
Ah,
You
that's good.
Right? And if
That's
you
good.
do that, then it's beautiful. Then you're getting
Yeah.
just the right news feed, just the right piece of
Well,
information.
I
It's
like
kinda
that a lot.
magical.
I like that a lot, and let's face it, I love what you just said, each person's different. Each body's different. Some bodies
Mhm.
can eat a lot of certain food and other ones will have a reaction. So my future might look different than your future, and therefore my inputs. That's what I hear you saying. That's
Yeah,
good.
I think that's right. And when you do that, you're kind of feeding your soul, not just your brain and your body, although that's important too.
Oh,
You
that's
know,
so good. That's so good. So I know the audio is gonna be uploaded soon, and I love the audio. Oh my gosh. How was that, by the way, the audio, just
the
the whole process?
process.
Yeah.
Well, we're still in the middle of it. We've got
Okay, okay, yeah.
five
Yeah,
chapters done, and which is about 132 words or
sure.
pages. Not that I know exactly how many pages, but it's
I love it,
132
I love it.
pages.
I love it.
It's been going great, and all that'll be ready by pub date.
Yeah. Well, and by the way, like Keith, Peter, Kevin, I mean,
Mm.
this book has really gotten some great design, great quotes, great endorsements. What do you want? Like, if I say, hey, Fred, it's been 6 months since your book came out, and
Mm.
you say, oh, Carrie, I got to tell you what's firing me up. What would you say is the outcome you'd like people to have?
Well, so a couple of different things. The first is there is in the back of the book a QR code, and it gives you
Mm,
access to something that we call the Thrive Codex. And it's just a PDF file, but it
that's
has all the content in Thrive. And then you take that and you load it into your AI of choice, Perplexity, Grok, ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever your thing is. And then you load it in and you say, review this based on the principles of Thrive. Help me do X, whatever
mm,
X is. And then ChatGPT will take the content and the insights from the book and apply it to the problem that you're trying to solve or the goal you're trying to hit.
whoa.
And here's what's cool about that. So we're going to be improving the codex and we'll send new releases as they come out.
Okay.
But as AI gets better, its response will get better. So you're riding the exponential improvement of AI
Mm,
automatically. And that is a combination I think that's going to be really powerful. AI will learn more about you. AI will
yeah.
inherently get better. Our codex will get better. And so over time, you'll get, it'll become more and more seamless. And I'm most excited to see how people use that. That's what I'm really looking forward to. And the early feedback that we've gotten, kind of like the Goodreads, is it's been
Yeah.
incredible. Like people are saying the most amazing things. Transformational is the way I say. Transformative is the way other people say
Yeah.
it. Changes in their
That's
life.
that's huge. So who or what gave you that codex idea? I've never heard that.
Just popped in my head. I don't know. I think I just well, where the origin was, I knew from Jensen Wong that chat or that AI was going to improve 1 million times in the next 10 years. He said that a couple months ago. And when
Whoa.
I first heard that, I thought 1 million X.
Yeah.
This doesn't happen anywhere in the world that
I've heard of
something
100, but 1 million.
a
Wow.
million,
Yeah.
right? In 10 years. So it's going to be so good. And I thought,
Mm,
how can we ride that rather
yeah.
than being overwhelmed by it? Hitch it up and let it pull my cart to the future I want. And so I thought, well, if we build a codex, it'll do that automatically. And
Mm,
so that's what I did.
that's so good. I'm going to take people right to the website. So it's thrivefutureyou.com, thrivefutureyou.com. And this is a great landing page, super beautiful. So yeah, so right out of the gate, I mean, people do not need to wait for book launch. They can right now grab a sample chapter.
Yeah. And I,
Awesome.
I think that's such a good way to get a taste of it and see if it resonates with you. If it
Oh
does,
yeah,
great. If it doesn't, that's good too.
I love it. Science-based, grounded, practical, and proven. I know you spent a lot of time on this amazing book. So you really went into some neuroscience. I know your background is
For
quite
sure.
impressive. So talk a little bit about that, like how you found the data for this book.
Yeah. So I'm a little bit of an obsessive person.
Mhm.
I like to immerse. That's the word I use. So about 15 years ago, almost 20 years ago, actually, I started immersing myself in neuroscience because I knew that it was going to be really important in the future of learning and development, which is the field that I worked in for 30
Mhm.
years. We
Sure.
we help companies launch brands in the biopharma space. And
Mm,
so we're asking people to change their mindsets, change their behaviors to produce better patient outcomes. That was the vision. And so I thought neuroscience plays a role. Let's understand how the brain really works, not make guesses or use, pop psychology nonsense,
yeah.
and really get good evidence-based science. And
Mm,
that started 15 years in a big, big way, 20 years in a, sort of
yeah.
half-baked way. All the content, stems from all those years of research into how the brain works, how we remember things. And then the new world of AI has opened the door to how our neural nets function. AI's neural net works because it models our neural net. And so
Wow.
that's such an important insight, right? You train up this foundation model in ChatGPT and it can do things. And the better you train it and the better feedback you give it, the better it can perform. Well, guess what? Our brains are exactly the same way in that
Mm,
sense. We have a personal foundation model. It depends on what you feed it. And you know that it's so deeply true, right? You send one kid to soccer camp and suddenly they're playing soccer and their neural net is trained to do soccer. You send another kid to music camp and their neural net starts training with music and they get good at that. And the more they do soccer, the better they get at soccer. And the more they do
wow.
music, the better they get at music. You could repeat with math anything, whether you're interested in those things, that's a different story. But what we expose ourselves to, we get good at, and it trains our neural net. And that gets back to where we started. Be careful what you
So good.
feed your neural net.
That's
Feed
so
it good
good.
stuff, right? And it'll be good.
I love it. I'm so excited about this book. I've been watching it for a while now. We were at Abundance
Yeah.
together,
Mhm.
and
So
I
fun.
told you, I said, "Listen, man, people are walking by this booth and they're saying like, I want a copy today." And you had some pre-release copies, and I saw people fighting over them. So folks, now's the time to get this. And again, like the metaphor is, if you had something you could drink that would, be helpful, that would give you calm and a future and energy, you'd grab it in a second. And that's what people are saying. So,
Mhm.
Fred, this has been fantastic.
Well, thank you so
And
much, Gary.
yeah, yeah. And I
Love
feel
it.
like today, yeah, I feel like today people need to go to thrivefutureyou.com. You also speak on this. The website's beautiful, by the way.
Well, thank you. Thank
Everything
you.
about the branding. So thanks, Fred. And
Thank you, Gary.
it's a joy to be with you.
It's always a pleasure.